What's going on, YouTube? Is Donnie B all day bringing you another Frost cutlery piece. I gotta say, man, the more and more I look at these Frost cutlery knives, the more and more I realize that Jim Frost is a freaking genius. So here it is. I got this Skinner. It's the Team Whitetail Skinner, right? And it was $11.95. That's with shipping. $11.95 total. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, let's see what this is going to be. And I was preparing myself for disappointment because it was $11.95 with shipping. And I'm expecting this little Skinner, you know, this little thing that you stick in your hand. I did not realize I was getting a gigantic freaking skinning knife. This thing is big, man. But beyond that, here's where the genius parts come, right? It's $11.95. It's made in China. It's stainless steel, nothing crazy, right? Nothing over the top. But you get a lot of blade for $11.95. You get a good edge for $11.95. You get a sharp knife for $11.95. Let's see if I have some hairs I can take down here. And absolutely I do. This thing is, I mean, look at that. That is shave freaking sharp. That's out of the box shave sharp, and that's owned now for about 2 months, and I've used this thing maybe twice. That's shave sharp out of the box after usage. $11.95. The edge and the minor use I gave it so far, and I gave it very little use, but there's nothing wrong. So you're saying, okay, so they gave you a sharp knife for $11.95. It doesn't make them a genius. Correct. What makes them a genius is how they are able to get them to $11.95 to push this product. This probably cost them pennies, literally pennies, to make these little nylon sheaths, even embroidered. It probably cost them just about nothing to do this. How do you keep a knife from going from $11.95 to $19.95? You give them a crappy sheath. However, even though it's this cheap nylon sheath with a little Velcro strap, this sheath gets a job done. This is stiff, so it's not flopping all over the place. It's riveted only in 2 places, but it's sewn all the way through, so the blade doesn't stick out. It's kind of, I don't want to say thick, but it's not thin nylon. It does a good job. Next, the scales. The scales are built for comfort in the hand, and they are comfortable. But here's the thing, they're cheap plastic. Listen, hear that? That's just cheap plastic scales held on with 2 screws. Now for $11.95, you know what I mean, that's okay. This, you know, if I put some wooden scales on her for Canewood wooden scales, now you're talking about $24.95, right? Just by changing the material in the scales. Fit and finish, it's a plastic scale, so you're going to get some, I don't know, let's see if you could, yeah, you see that spacing right there. You're going to get a little bit of spacing. Who cares? It's a skinning knife, so if you're using it for its intended use, you're skinning. The scales really don't come into play when you're talking about a skinning knife. This is not a fighting knife. This is not a Bowie. This is a skinning knife. It's a single-purpose knife. It's made to skin. That's what it's for. That's what it's made for. That's what you use it for, unless you're like me. However, it's 8.5 inches overall with a 5-inch blade. If you can't use 5 inches for self-defense, man, I don't know what you're doing wrong. But in a reverse grip, it's comfortable because of the way it's cut here. It's comfortable using your thumb on the jimping, which is very aggressive jimping, and holding it back here. So if you need to slash, you can slash. But where it really comes down to is, even though this is a false edge, it's not a true false edge, it's not sharp, so you can still rest your thumb on there and you get a full, I'm talking, you put your finger, this, I'm a big guy, man. My ring finger is a 13, 14, somewhere in there. So to be able to stick your hand or a finger, so if you have, let's say, a 14 and a half inch size finger, boop, 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 maybe even a 15, I think I just got it pregnant. You're going to be able to stick your finger through there no problem and really, really choke up. Now when I do that, I'm not getting too much of the scale, so I could literally take this off, and I can do a cord wrap on there if I want. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself some wood, and I'm going to take one of these scales off, or both these scales off, and I'm just going to trace it. And then I'm going to cut it, and then just file down the edges, and then I'll have a wooden scales on an $11.95 knife, and the wooden scales are going to cost me just about nothing, right? But it's gonna give me a sturdier grip, and if I want, I can change the contouring and kick it out a little bit, so I can do whatever I want, making my own scales. It's very easy because these aren't glued on. They pop right off with these two screws, and then they're easily traced. It's not some funky design, it's not a funky shape, it's not something that you have to worry about, oh, I can't do it with hand tools, or, you know, I can't do it with sandpaper. Of course you can. You trace this out, you cut it, boom, it's easy. Making the scales is no problem. Now look at this, they don't even match up correctly. So doing my own scales, I think, is going to benefit this knife altogether. It's going to make it better. But even if I didn't want to, if I said, you know what, I paid $11.95, I need a cheap Skinner, just a cheap Skinner, this is going to get the job done. These scales are going to get the job done. That's not a problem. But holy crap, this knife is really good in the hand for $11.95. Now it does have these goofy deer hoof cutouts there. I really don't care about that. I do like the through hole right here for the finger. That's just awesome. I love this shape. It's very, very good. I love the shape of the actual cutting blade. Is just pretty cool, man. I mean, you're looking at that right there, right? That's pretty cool. That's a badass, thick looking, rugged piece of steel. And I enjoy just looking at this. I mean, look at $11.95, and look at how big it is, right? I mean, my hands, obviously 10 1/4. Look at that. Look at that. It's just big. For a Skinner, that's $11.95. That's impressive. But being impressive to look at and being impressive to use obviously are two different things. So let's take this little Frost Cutlery product and give it a little bit of all right, let's do that together. All right, so I already took off some hairs, so you know it's sharp. That's without a doubt. But let's see how sharp it is against aluminum. All right, so we're going to give it a nice cut through right here. And man, finer than Mel's Diner. Just good. Let's see. Just good. I don't need to slice paper. I have aluminum. So now cutting through aluminum and then slicing through aluminum. Let's see if this edge has any defects. I'm looking closely. I really want to know. And there is nothing. All right, so you're talking about a skinning knife. Let's see, I got a little bug crawling right here. Oh yeah. And look, I skinned. Oh yeah. So it's a skinning knife that isn't going to be, you know, used for, look at that, isn't going to be used for piercing aluminum or slicing aluminum, but to know that it can, that's pretty good. Let's keep going. All right, so here we are at the pallet, right? We got some space on here to do a little chopping action. Skinner, not a chopper. This is hardwood. If it's going to make any kind of dents that I need to work down on the blade, it's going to do it here. So let's give it a few. Remember, chopping is all about the wrist. It's not about the arm. If you're chopping like this, you're going to wear yourself out. Hold a knife at the end, whatever knife you're using. I don't care what it is. If it's made to chop, if it's not, this is obviously not made to chop. But I'm successful chopping with it, not because of the knife itself, but just because of the way I'm doing my chopping. It's technique. Just little flicks. Look at this. I can do little baby flicks, and it's going to remove wood, right? Little flicks like this. You're going to be able to control your angles a little bit more. The closer you are to your swing, obviously the better it's going to be for control. And you're going to remove wood. I mean, this is not a chopper. I'm chopping just fine with this knife. I'm holding it here. I'm letting the knife do the work. Nothing extra, just let the knife do the work. Let's see, are the scales still on there? Pretty good. Scales are still on there, pretty good. Is there any defects in the blade? There is nothing going on this edge that shouldn't be going on this edge. And it's a Skinner. Again, it's not made for this, but it can do it. And if you're not damaging the edge doing that, think about how much you're not going to damage the edge slicing through a pelt, right? All right, so let's keep going. All right, so now it's an oddly shaped piece. Obviously, it's kind of round almost. You know, it's curved. But we are going to try and do some drop tests and see how the balance goes. So we're looking at 4 feet of just dropping it, and look at this balance. Look how it carries itself. 4 feet. That's a really well balanced piece. I like that. I went a little higher on that one. I like that. It gets the job done. Man, it's a cool little knife. So now we're going to throw it down, and we're going to see how well these scales hold on. All right. Bam, you could hear the scales rattle on it. Oh my goodness. Look at that. I mean, you want to talk about good bite? That's good bite. Now, strength in the tip is important. When I put that into that log and I pulled up, remember that the weight on this stump is going to shift, right? You're talking about 40 to 50 pounds right here in wood. When I lifted, I'm fighting picking the knife up straight with the imbalance in the stump. And if this was truly, truly weak, the tip would have absolutely bent on that, right? But as you can see, it's dead straight. Also, you can see that there's no damage in the actual cutting edge of the tip, throwing it down like that. Now let's check the scale tightness, and the little Allen heads have done their job. It's still tight. All right, so let's get a little bit of this out here. Now I'm going to choke way up here and just look at this. Look at this. Just shaving, shaving, shaving. Not what it's meant to do, but it's capable. So let's turn it around, get my finger out of there, and let's see what kind of feathers we can produce here. I'll tell you, I'm just cutting things off left and right. I don't know if you could see it if they're falling in front of me and you guys can actually see that, or if I'm the only one that could see it in the whole wide world. But look at this. Fine feathers. So you need some feather sticking done. Easy money. All you have on you is a Skinner, and you need to, I don't know, set up a bow, make your own bow. You need to do tent spikes. You need to do anything like that. Is it going to be able to give you good notches? Hell yeah. Am I going to be able to shave down the tip of a stick to make myself a spike for traps? Hell yeah. For spears? Hell yeah. For arrows? Hell yeah. It's going to get the job done. But there's so many jobs it can do besides the job it's tasked for, and I haven't even showed you that. So let's keep going. All right, so still we are have yet to get to the actual skinning task of the skinning knife, and so far it's tackling a bunch of things it's not even made to be able to accomplish. Here's the thing, you don't baton with these. It's just stainless steel. If you baton with them, they're gonna warp. However, sometimes if you're in a jam and you need kindling, I'll tell you what, you get some small pieces of wood. I'm going to show you guys. I have faith in this thing. I haven't done it yet. So, I mean, I don't really know how it's going to go, but I have faith. I have faith just from the usage I've put this thing through. There we go. If I need kindling, I can trust this knife to be able to do this job, right? I can trust that to do this. And let's check. Now, if you want to damage a tip, there's no better way than doing batoning, or not a tip, but an edge. And look at this thing. Look at this thing. $11.95, shipping included on eBay. Team freaking Whitetail by Frost Cutlery. Now let's see these. I just did a little bit of batoning. and the scales are still on there pretty decent. And even if the scales loosen, who cares? It's just Allen heads, so that's pretty simple. I can get that done no problem. It's just the fact that I'm chopping, I'm throwing down at the things, I'm feather sticking, I'm carving, I'm batoning with an 1195 Skinner, right? And I haven't even done any skinning yet. So let's go do some skinning. Well, I did skin that little bug. All right, so I showed you all the really cool things that this thing can do that it's not made to do. Now I want to show you the cool thing it can do that it's actually made to do. We were taking this this soccer ball, leather soccer ball, so it's just like a pelt, and oh my gosh, is that easy? Is that freaking easy? Can you skin with this skinning knife? Cobwebs, hell to the yeah. That was literally no problem, and that's after batoning. I shaved, I cut through aluminum cans, I chopped hard freaking wood, and it goes through like, listen to that. No problem. I'm telling you guys, you got to put this against a rabbit or a deer. Obviously it's made to skin deer. Anything. This guy right here, with the size it is and the leverage you get, this is an excellent skinning knife. Can I use it for other things? I can, but its true purpose, it's really, really good for doing what it's made to do. Using this as a skinner, you will get some great freaking work done. This so far has been very, very impressive for the price. I have to say that. Not too shabby. All right, so after doing this is when I'm probably going to need to go and build my wooden scales, because if I miss a throw, I'm going to jack these little plastic guys up, but I plan on doing them over anyway, so I don't care. However, if I throw it and make that hit, whoosh, then maybe I won't damage them all. So let's find out if I can do that. Here's the test. Donnie be all day. All right, so the first one, definitely a miss. Well, they're still on there. I didn't crack it. I'm surprised about that. Let's try that again. Sometimes it doesn't take me long to figure it out, and I figured that out just by changing the way I held it. And wow, that went in there pretty deep. I got sap all the way down this edge. What I did the first time is I tried throwing it from the blade, and this time I just threw it from the grip. And I'll tell you what, man, if that's a rabbit or raccoon or anything like that, that thing was easily thrown. And the weight was actually pretty well. I mean, it flew exactly how I wanted it. Once I changed the grip, you know, there's a couple ways I throw a knife, and depending on the actual knife is how that grip's going to go, but it was easy. It felt really, really natural leaving the hand. And believe me, this is a Skinner. It's not made to be thrown, but holy Moses, that's pretty good. Let's go put it on a rack. All right, guys, so we have the Team Whitetail Skinner by Frost Cutlery. And again, $11.95, free shipping. That was shipping included. Did that on eBay, and holy crap. Let's see, I mean, what did we do? This is a $12 skinning knife made to skin, and we were able to shave with it. We were able to slice through aluminum cans. We were able to slice down through aluminum cans. We were able to chop through hardwood. We were able to do some drops, some hard downward throws, some shaving, some wood trimming. We did some notching. We did some batoning. We did some actual skinning. We did some throwing. And this knife is still in brand new condition. I mean, you guys, if you need a Skinner and you want something that's going to be big enough to give you the leverage on some of those larger hides. I mean, guys, here it is. It's right here. I just gave it to you. Fan-freaking-tastic. This is almost no money out of pocket, but you are going to get a ton of use. If you are using this thing as a Skinner, I'll tell you what, man, this thing takes the abuse of a Bowie, but it's built as, you know, a pelt shredder. It is freaking awesome. I mean, you could literally part the Red Sea with this edge. It just, whoa, it's very, very good. It's very sharp, and even though those goofy little hoof marks are unnecessary, I like the way it looks. So I mean, it's cool. I mean, you kind of look at it, and it's got this like lizard looking head shape to it, doesn't it? It looks like it'll just like I don't know what the fuck that was. Moving the phone did nothing, but yeah, it's really cool, man. It's kind of almost dinosaur looking, and I totally dig it. So here it is, Team Whitetail Skinner Frost Cutlery, $12 frickin'. I'm Donnie B all day. Until next knife.